Hello, everybody, and welcome to our weekly podcast. I'm David Barry, and along with Terry Gilliam, I've got Gina and Amy with us, and so we're trying to step up a notch. We've got some additional video. What's it called, Terry? Help me out. Video tools, right?
All I know is I look 50 pounds heavier in that picture than I really am.
But look at how happy he was.
Look at me over here on the side, and then look at that picture. That's not 50 pounds ago. I've lost weight, but not that much.
So I'm wearing a sweater today, Terry. What's the weather like in Florida?
80 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. It's a beautiful time of year in Central Florida. And David, I want to say hi to Gina and Amy. They're in Northwest Arkansas, which is also a beautiful place to visit. Gina showed me around the downtown Bentonville. We had a great lunch together. The Sam Walton Museum is well worth the admission. It's free. So it's a beautiful, I'm telling you, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So yeah, it's great to have Gina and Amy on here today.
Well, so Gina, before you start, I just want to let you know I lived in Little Rock, Arkansas. I was at Little Rock Air Force Base about 125 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But I don't want to date myself too much, but it was a long time ago. And I did get to experience some of Heber Springs. I got to experience some really beautiful things. I actually worked on, I don't know if you know this, Terry, but I was a technician for Titan II missile silos. So if I ever met someone, I would say, "What's your coordinates?" And they'd be like, "What?" So that was
watching you struggle around a computer, that makes me a little bit afraid for our military.
So anyway, we have Gina from Northwest Arkansas. She's going to talk about her area, talk about who she services, and why don't you introduce the guest and tell us a little bit about yourself, Gina?
Gina Harper. I was an 8th generation Antiochian, which is in California myself, before I came over here. I'm not, Terry, when did leaving California start?
2018.
Okay, that's when I joined, not as a realtor, but as someone who was trying to escape California. And I did not actually become a realtor until I got here, and I just fell in love with the area and wanted to help others make the move too. So I moved a farm with 75 chickens, ducks, pigs across the United States to Arkansas and haven't looked back since.
And who do you have with you today?
This is Amy. Amy, you want to introduce yourself? She is one of my clients that I met off of the Leaving California Facebook page.
Yes. And I haven't, is Allison Woodall still on the page?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we decided we were going to leave California, found the page extremely helpful, used even though I was in a military brat, and even as an adult, I moved a lot. Moving across country is a big deal. And I got her package, and I used all the features that you had in the files. Benefited us greatly. And then that's how I hooked up with Gina. And that was a blessing. No regrets. I'm so thankful for it all.
Great.
Amy, I have to tell you, thank you so much for joining us. And to be quite transparent, it really is helpful when somebody that actually did experience this can share their story. And I'm assuming this is your husband?
Yes.
Okay. And you guys both look so happy. This must be after you left, right?
Oh,
it is.
Or, yeah, probably.
Or you were thinking about it. That's
probably when we were visiting. Because Gina, we connected right away. And even before we decided we were going to move here and just going to explore the area, I had talked to her. And then when we came out to explore and met her face to face, and it was just so wonderful. Anyway.
And I definitely want to dive way more into the story. And then, because we have a lot of people that watch our show every week, and they're sitting there, they're in the same shoes as you guys. You're like, well, we really think we should leave. We don't know where to go. We don't know where to start. So I want to dive more into that. And Terry, I know this is going to scare you, but Gina asked me to play a video. I'm going to attempt it, but I'm not sure.
I'm very afraid right now.
I know this could be dangerous, right? Gina sent me the video. Where's it? Here it is.
Titan II missile technician.
Gina, help me. I just saw it a minute ago. I do have it in here, so I can't minimize my screen though. That's the problem. I see I set myself up for failure. Let's see. There it is. All right.
Dear family, I'm ready to inform you that we're moving to Northwest.
It's not on the screen, David.
It's not.
No, you might have to stop sharing and then click on the actual video and share that page, that screen.
So, can you guys see this now? Are you able to see my screen?
No, you're still sharing Gina's photo.
Okay.
In Bentonville.
Okay, so Gina, I'm sorry, I don't want to get too because it might take me some time. And Terry,
right.
we'll keep practicing. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in. And again, Amy, that's your husband. What's your husband's name?
Marty.
Marty, thank you so much for sharing your story, like I said. And we're going to go ahead and dive into Northwest Arkansas. And let's start talking about the feature, the different areas, your different things that you offer. And why are people leaving California and coming to your area?
Okay, well, Northwest Arkansas was actually the U.S. News and World Report put us at number 10 on its ranking of the 150 best places to live in the United States in 2023. We are the mountain biking capital of the world. We have 322 miles of natural surface trails for mountain biking and 162 miles of paved paths that are all connected by the Razorback Greenway. And if you look, it goes from, you look at this map at the very top. I don't see Bella Vista on there, but it goes from Bella Vista to Fayetteville. It's quite a long path that you can ride your bike the entire way or walk, either one. We have educational excellence. 8 of Northwest Arkansas's high schools rank among the top 10% in the nation. And 6 of the 10 best high schools in Arkansas are in Benton or Washington counties. Our unemployment is very low. We have Fortune 500 companies here. The big ones, everyone knows, J.B. Hunt, Tyson, Walmart. And then Walmart requires all of its vendors to have brick and mortar here. So the jobs coming from Walmart vendors are numerous. We have a great
Gina, before we get too much further, I always ask Terry every week. I always say to Terry, so what's your experience up there, Terry?
Well, like I said, I went and visited Gina, had lunch up there. I got to tell you, downtown Bentonville is absolutely beautiful. Here's the other part of it. Just as Gina's describing, you've got a lot of employment there, a lot of vendors, every vendor. And then, by the way, I walked through a Walmart here in Orlando the other day. I can't believe how many hundreds of thousands of products are there. So I can only imagine how many company sales reps who have to have a presence in Bentonville, how many of them live there, bring all that money there. And then the Walton family also spends billions of dollars in the area to improve the whole ecosystem, if you will. They've got nothing but money, and boy, do they give back to the
Terry froze up. They give back to the community.
So I'd love to visiting the Bentonville, Fayetteville area.
Well,
yes.
That's all right. Well, so I have my list, Gina, and we can go through, and maybe Amy, you can share a little bit of what it's like living there. But the first thing we're going to just talk about is the weather. And I know you have the four full seasons, but a lot of times people want to hear about what's the weather like if they were considering to go to that area.
Well, the weather, so 4 full seasons for sure. And being from California, fall was probably my least favorite season. It's fire season, at least in Northern California. But here, I mean, the fall colors are so beautiful, and the weather is perfect. There's no humidity. I mean, nothing. It's just perfect in the fall. The spring is beautiful. We get spring colors as well. Winter can get cold. Now we get a little bit of snow, but it's not, I've never had to get a shovel out, not once. You get snow, everybody freaks out and closes down everything. So you get a snow day, and then it melts, go back to work. So I don't know. Has that been your experience, Amy?
Yeah. We did have to get the shovel out last year.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. But we live in the country. I mean, for a minute there, my rooster was awfully loud. But my husband loathes cold weather entirely. There was just no way he's going to live in a snowy place. And the winters here are fine for him. It's enough snow for him to enjoy for a while. And then if we get snow, but yeah, it's not that bad.
No.
And Amy, could you tell us how long you've been there?
A year and a half.
Okay.
Right, Gina? Yeah, about a year and a half.
I think January is 2 years, but you moved about 6 months after you bought the house.
Yeah.
And Amy, where did you come from?
Southern California.
Okay.
We lived in a town called Redlands, which we absolutely loved. Gorgeous mountains there. The beach was a 40-minute drive one way, and the mountains were 40 minutes the other way. And it was a town very similar to downtown Bentonville, that old historic vibe. So that's where we used to live. And it's in San Bernardino County.
And Amy, were you there for your entire life or for a long time? How long were you there?
Like I said, my father was in the military. We moved, but I was born in San Jose, and all my relatives were the San Jose, Napa. My grandparents lived in Napa. That's more coastal, or a Bay Area kind of. And then we lived down there in Southern California 25 years.
Wow, long time. Yeah.
So, without moving around or anything.
And Gina, this here is your contact information. It says that your office is in Bentonville, but before we got on, we only had a couple minutes to meet each other. We haven't met each other personally, but I can tell that you're a very warm and passionate realtor, and you really care about your clients. And you got one right here can't wait to tell everybody about how great Gina is. Let's talk just real briefly, because I had the map up. Are we, so I see Bentonville all the way up in the top left-hand corner. Talk a little bit about the areas that you cover, and maybe let's talk a little bit about what the differences are from a real estate perspective, and price points and things like that might be helpful for people that are considering Northwest Arkansas.
Okay, so I cover anywhere from the top of the state over to Eureka Springs. You can kind of see that there next to 62. And I can go a little further, but that's sort of my stomping ground. And then south to somewhere between Fayetteville and West Fork, around that area. And then east all the way to Siloam Springs and back up.
Got it. And another question that a lot of our listeners like to find out about is, and Terry and I kind of laugh about this every week, and it's not really even funny, but a lot of these people are saying, I really loved California. It was good for me, but I just don't want to raise my kids here. I don't want them to have to go through this California experience and raise my children. So when we talk about children, we get into education. Can you talk about education up there?
Education. So there are a lot of private and public schools that are very good here. I don't know if I always send my clients to greatschools.org to see for themselves the rankings that the schools in Bentonville especially get. Bentonville's got just phenomenal schools, and each city has its own good schools. But Bentonville's just bar none phenomenal with this level of the education that they get. And they have the private schools are actually very affordable. It's not like California where it costs as much as college. It's not like that. And we have specialized schools for art, for technology, special high schools all over Northwest Arkansas.
And isn't there a university up there?
Of course, U of A, the Hogs. I'm not going to call them for you, but yeah. We suey
Okay.
pig up here.
Yep.
There's no
I used to hear about
pro
it down
sports teams,
down in
but
Little Rock. I actually heard about it when I lived in, boy, everybody was proud of them, that's for sure.
oh yeah.
And then, you know, one of the things that we always talk about on our show is transportation. So do most of the people have to go down to Little Rock if they want to go away, or do you guys have, talk about the airport and
We have a
transportation?
national airport. It's called XNA. It says Fayetteville / Bentonville. It's actually in a little town called Highville where Amy and I both live. But
Yes, very convenient.
right next to Bentonville, and they have flights to anywhere in the US. I think there's 22 nonstop locations, and then the rest have hubs like Dallas and Chicago.
And just as a point of reference, I know a lot of people know Little Rock really well. They know where it is. They know it's in the center of the state. Just for a point of reference, how long would it take to get from where you're at to Little Rock? Just out of curiosity.
3.5 hours. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty just went Sunday.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So 3.5 hours.
And next we get to talk about the fun stuff. I know that outdoors and lakes and mountains, I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful up there. If you want to go ahead and brag a little bit about all the top attractions and what draws so many people up to that area.
Well, it is the natural state. It's called that for a reason. I don't even know how many waterfalls we have, but literally almost every hiking trail has a waterfall on it. We have kayaking on rivers, in the lakes, and we have kayak parks for serious kayakers. They're actually building a new one in Siloam Springs right now. Fishing and boating, there are lakes everywhere, but we're right next. Beaver Lake is our big lake that we do most of our boating on. And I've probably gone boating with Amy now like 10 times.
Yeah.
The biking, mountain biking, the hiking, gosh, we have a state park where you can go and actually look for gems, and people have found like several carat diamonds there that you get to take home with you. Gosh, have I missed anything for the outdoors, Amy?
Oh, I'm sure you've missed plenty. I
I
can't.
know.
I mean, there's just so much. We live outdoors.
Mhm.
Just and she was
how
talking about the boating. It's just so easy. It's unlike, you know, where we left, the accessibility to just go any place was crazy. And here it's just it's user friendly. And we go kayaking just in the middle of the week, you know.
Oh,
'cause we'll
golfer's
kayak-
paradise.
Huh?
It's a golfer's paradise.
Oh,
I
yes.
forgot about that.
It is.
so
Golfer's
Amy,
paradise.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
I know that you're so excited about talking about Gina. And one of the things that we talk about every week is how these are the top 10 things. Having a licensed realtor and having somebody be able to show you, even after you live there. I always say, Terry, that it's like, you know, we treat our clients like they're family, and they become family members. And it's really cool to hear you guys give these stories. But one of the top things that we always say every week is that you really need to go and check out the city. You need to go see it, and you need to ask yourself, can I see myself living here? Did that kind of happen for you, Amy? And talk about the experience of meeting Gina and talk a little bit about that.
So yes, going back to the Allison Woodall package, you know, nothing's 100%. If you're waiting for 100%, you know, you're not going to make a decision. So we decided to make our trip, and Gina had said, "Hey, when you're ready, I'm gonna block out about 3 days, and I'll show you whatever you want to see." I love that. We never felt rushed at all. And so we showed up. Sometimes I felt like I was being annoying because we were kind of lost, actually. You know, it's overwhelming, and we get here, and I was always like, okay, so how am I going to do this? Or where's this? Or where would you recommend? I mean, constantly shooting her a text, and she always answered back. Was never, you know, even for a restaurant, we're only here for like a night. Where can we go? you know, so that was really nice. And her understanding of why we were leaving, you know, that was hard. It was hard to leave someplace you really love so much. And she really listened to what we wanted out of life, what we were looking for. And her knowledge, I mean, confident constantly. I mean, there were things we personally bought a fixer-upper. And there were things like, she's like, cool, you guys fix it up. That's on you. That's good. But there were things she wouldn't budget on, like, you need to get this done. It's a priority. You have to have them do this. Because we didn't understand a lot of the things about the weather or how it may affect something. And so I really liked that. I mean, she pushed to get us what we wanted. Anyway.
So for our listeners, would you say that you were on the fence? And maybe you could talk about that, you know, that part of your life. Were you guys kind of on the fence and maybe you're not, or had you made 100% commitment and you were definitely leaving California?
We were 100% committed to leaving California. And we traveled many places in many different states. Kind of by the time I got done talking with Gina and listening to her and my research, I was pretty sure we were going to land here and prepared. And then after coming here, we knew, this is where we were going to be.
And I've been with Terry now for a couple of years, but Terry's our founder. He's the one that created that. There's no question, Terry is the foremost expert on this. And Terry, again, it's so nice to have somebody that actually went through this journey, because then we can see it through their eyes and we can express and educate. So Terry, what are some other thoughts that you have? And this is awesome having Amy here with us. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, Amy, it's great to have you on here. Can you tell us what other places you considered, and what was the kind of the tipping point to go with Northwest Arkansas?
We considered, we traveled to these places, Oregon, Idaho, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, kind of were the big ones. And we did travel, we did visit. The tipping point, well, Idaho was out because of snow, like I said earlier. My husband can't do that. But the tipping point was actually showing up here. Well, we showed up other places, but I guess everything we were looking for was here. Again, with the schools, when my daughter moved out, followed us out with 2 of my grandkids. And so schools were really important. In California, we spent a lot of money on private schools because education there was kind of a wreck. The public school system here was great. I mean, it's a lot of tipping points. We bicycle, and this place is so family oriented.
Yes.
I mean, it's just designed for families. I mean, there's parks everywhere, and
Amy, isn't it nice to have a neighbor that waves to you, or a neighbor that says, "Oh, we're having a barbecue"? You know, that is really, really nice. Terry talks about that too, and some of his experiences that he had. I guess, and I don't really count myself living in California, although I did a little bit. Terry, was it like that 25, 30 years ago?
You talking about California?
Yeah.
Not like the South.
No, never,
Heavens
right?
no.
Never.
Heavens no. Well, I remember in the 80s in Fremont, which was the first city I moved to in California, every Friday and Saturday night, about 1,000 of these little lowriders with the little thumpa music coming out of them, going up and down every single road in Fremont. I'm like, did I move to Mars? This is so no, it was not like, hello neighbor, nice to meet you. It was, how do I get the heck out of here? It started in the 80s.
And Gina, let's move on down my list. The next thing I have is culture. If you want to talk about the culture there, and maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Exactly what are you looking for?
Like the local culture and the lifestyle, what it's like there.
It's a lot more laid back than California is. You know, my whole life I was in the Bay Area. The last 5 years I was in Sonoma County in a tiny town called Sebastopol. And I thought that there would be a lot of things I'd miss culturally. And there's not. I mean, there's so much here. We have one of the top rated, I just went blank, museums in the United States. It is amazing. It's a piece of artwork inside and out. And the people here are they're just they're so much more friendly. I mean, I know all my neighbors. I know I've gone to Amy's house and all of her neighbors come out over there. But as far as culture, are you just wanting to know like the art scene or the people, like how they are?
Well, just kind of what it's like there. And also, since I didn't ask you this earlier, how long have you been there, and when did you make your trek across the country?
I lived in California for 50 years, and I moved about March will be 6 years for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it was hard because I was like, I'm 8th generation. So I was leaving a whole side of my family there.
That was, and Gina, John, I'm sorry you missed the pandemic in California, Gina. And
I'm not sorry. Yeah, the pandemic, we wore masks like for the 6 weeks where everything was closed down, whatever it was. And then the restaurants all opened back up and took half their seats out. Come on in, wear masks, come on in. So we were not closed down very long here.
And you kind of touched on this a little bit. The next topic was job opportunities. You actually talked a little bit about this, but if you could expand on that. And I know that that's that's a very big concern for people that want to leave, and they want to have that job opportunity, job security. So maybe you could talk about that again.
Sure. And if you are interested, there's a website called the Northwest Arkansas Council.org, I believe. And there's a calculator on there. So if you want to know how far your salary will go, you can put in your city and then Northwest Arkansas, and it will tell you what the equivalent is. So like $80,000 in LA might be $50,000 here, as far as the cost of living. So when you're looking at jobs here, you're only unemployed here if you want to be. I mean, honestly. Like I said, that all the Walmart vendors, but there are so many other opportunities. We have a great healthcare system, and they're always looking for nurses and doctors. So if you're working in the healthcare field, there's just a ton of opportunity. We have a full veterans hospital and a full children's hospital as well here. Jobs, if you work. My son-in-law actually went to the Culinary Academy in California and didn't know that he wanted to move to Arkansas. So I brought him here, brought him to all the restaurants, and he realized how great that scene is and how great it is for chefs to move here. So we have, gosh, I mean, there is no job here that is lacking there. We just have jobs everywhere.
That's awesome.
It is not hard to find a job here in any field. Honestly, we have a huge technology scene here, and so they're always hiring the top for Walmart and JB Hunt, top executives for and technology. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
Thank you for sharing that. And by the way, everything we do on our weekly podcast and our weekly show, we don't rehearse this. We don't practice this. Gina doesn't really even know what I'm going to ask her. So, I mean,
no, I had no idea.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I just think that the shows come off better that way when it's organic. And really, as realtors, we know that, the passion that we have in taking care of our clients. I mean, there's some things. I've been in Las Vegas since 1975. And there's still some things I don't know about the city, but if I don't know, I'll go find out. But the passion that we have and the way that we want to take care of our clients is important. I do want to shift back to real estate again, and let's talk a little bit about the areas and price points, days on market. And, when we're looking at this map, obviously you have some starter homes, you have lower price points, and then I'm sure you have some $1 million homes. So talk about real estate inventory, and things like that, anything associated that would be helpful for somebody that was thinking about relocating and buying a house there.
Well, our inventory is definitely creeped back up from the unicorn years, we call them, when there wasn't much much available. But so right now we have, for October, we had about 2,200 homes worth of inventory in Benton County. I looked up the days on market. The average for October for Benton County was 66 days and Washington County was 60. So that is getting better. If you're a buyer, you're not having to jump in, make the decision on your first showing and, bid 10,000 over or more. It's getting a lot better for the buyers. You're able to get some concessions now. And the median price for Benton County is $389, or it was in October. And for Washington County, which is more the Fayetteville area, that's $352. And like you said, there are, if you go to downtown Fayetteville, downtown Bentonville, you will find lots and lots of $1 million homes, but the normal neighborhoods, that's what I'm talking about here. Months of inventory, we have 5 months of inventory in Benton County and 4 in Washington right now. So that's gotten a little bit. Yeah.
That's good news for people that are thinking about coming to that area.
Exactly.
And week after week, I explain it this way, especially to my clients and to clients throughout the country. When we talk about when the real estate was going crazy and there was 15, 20, 25 offers on each house, you had to pay 20,000 over. What we're seeing, especially in my market, is that sellers are offering 10, 15, sometimes $20,000 in concessions and 2-to-1 buy downs and things like that. Is that happening in your market as well?
Yes, absolutely. One of my listings right now, we're offering, rather than lowering the price, we're offering the money toward buy down and getting a lot more traction that way.
Good, great. And Terry, I asked a lot of questions about this area. Did I miss anything, Terry?
I just wanted to ask Amy. So you mentioned you've got grandchildren that also came to the area. Are they in school? And can you talk about the different? I know you touched upon it, but the difference between private school in California versus, are they going to public school or are they going to private school? Can you just talk about that for a little bit, please?
They're going to public school now. Obviously, you want to know what they're learning. There's a lot of things in the school systems that parents don't find acceptable anymore. And that was a lot of the reasons why they went to private school when we were in California. My daughter, and I go with her, we go in, we meet the teachers. The teachers are very available. The kids are so happy. They have a lot of great extracurricular activities, which kind of got cut out in California, unless you're in private school. So they just, and their level of education is actually increased. I mean, the teachers require a lot of them, not in the way of bogging them down with homework or anything like that, but we're really happy with we were happy with the private school, but we're very happy with the public school here. Very happy.
That's great.
And I wanted to go back to this little list here. And it sounds like, Amy, you and your husband really did your homework. And, me and Terry, every week after week, we try to keep compiling more information to help people that want to leave California. We're certainly not here to say you should go or you shouldn't go. We're very neutral on that. But if you really want to leave, these are some of the things we talk about doing your homework. If you were going to talk to somebody that was watching this podcast, or maybe they watch it in a couple of weeks from now, and they're on the fence, they really know that they need to leave, and maybe they even made that statement, I don't want to raise my kids here. What would you tell somebody? And maybe you could talk a little bit about your experience. And I really appreciate you sharing, because it sounds like you guys did your homework. And we have heard a few stories, not a lot, where people have actually moved to the wrong community. So they ended up getting a house there and they're like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. We don't like it here. And they don't move back to California. They move to another city. So anything you could tell somebody that's sitting there thinking, I really need to get out, what should they do? What's your advice? Please share.
Wow. I would say, first off, be willing to take a flight and go to where you think you want to live. which I would assume a lot of people would do, but I've known a lot that haven't. Second is, and I know it's hard, but I feel so fortunate, sound like an advertisement, but that I found Gina. You know, I spent a lot of time, Terry, on your Facebook. I mean, and I picked got a lot of information. I listened to a lot of what people were saying of things that they weren't happy with, or they were happy with. And I, you know, and they brought up things that I had not thought of. So that was good. A good real estate agent, though, is so huge for the honesty of the area you're actually looking to buy in. So I think I got sidetracked. Am I answering your question?
You are, yes, absolutely. And again, we just, you know, so one of the things we talk about is having the plan. You know, and if somebody's stuck at step one and they don't take that first step, we know that, you know, my background, I taught martial arts for 30 years. So if you want to be a black belt, you got to get your white belt, and then your orange belt, and then your yellow belt. It's a step-by-step process. And I really appreciate you sharing that. Not just to find a realtor. You don't want to find a realtor that's going to be like, oh, well, you want to buy this house? And they show you one. You want to find somebody that's going to show you the community. They're going to drive you around.
Right.
They're going to take you for
Right.
coffee. You're going to get to meet the locals. You're going to get to see the restaurants. You're going to get to see some of the sites.
Exactly.
They're going to be excited, yes, about their city. It's not about selling them a house.
Go ahead. And your fears, you know, that you can tell them what your fears. I don't want this. I'm afraid of this, you know, and then them being able to say, well, blah, 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 or yeah, well, maybe you consider something else, you know, because you don't want to make a mistake. It's a big mistake.
Maybe you could talk about your plan and your journey a little bit, so that, again, if somebody is, maybe they just made the decision, they don't know where they're going to go. They don't know anything. Talk about having the plan. And do you feel like if you could do it again, did you really have a solid plan, or were you kind of just figuring it out as you go?
Started out figuring it out as we went, but then it evolved into a solid plan. Part of the reason why I'm enjoying being on this Zoom call is to share with people who don't know. You really don't, you're afraid, you know, it's not working. You know, it's not going to work for you where you're at, but it's a big country. And so it's very overwhelming. And I found that using a lot of the tools that I found on the site there helped me narrow things down, list what was really important to us, and then chip away at that, and then start taking a look at areas that had what we thought might meet what was important to us, and then visiting those areas, and then just keep it got more narrow and narrow as time went. But that's how we went about it.
And Terry, if you don't mind sharing, since you helped so many people leave California, if you could just add on to that a little bit. This is warm, it's genuine, it's real, and I really appreciate it. I think this will be helpful for some people that are not sure. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I think that none of us want to leave California, right? I mean, it's a beautiful place to live. The weather's perfect most of the year. But again, all you got to do is look at the local news, state news, look at what they're voting on in the legislature, look at what's happening in the schools. You just, you know, I didn't want to be around that. I didn't want to stay around that. I didn't want my family around that. I was familiar with Florida because I was born and raised here, but lived in California 35 years. I knew what I was getting back into when I moved back to Florida, but I'll tell you, I was gone from actually Central Florida for 37 years. You don't think the Orlando area hasn't changed in 37 years? There's still places I haven't been to in 40 years that I go see, but I knew what I was getting weather-wise. So I think that Amy's exactly right. You've got to have a plan. You don't want to try and just wing it. You don't want to get 2 weeks from moving and say, oh my gosh, am I going to use pods or I'm going to use a mover? You want to have a plan. And she mentioned Allison Woodall's program. If you go to Allison Woodall, I think it's one L, ALISON Woodall .com. Yes, one L, WOODALL. She's got a full comprehensive program on everything from just getting past the nerves and making that decision all the way through budgeting, finding a mover. All of that information's on there, and it's very reasonably priced at $47. Allison is still a member of the group and has mostly set up our YouTube channel. She did most of that, our Leaving California YouTube channel where our videos are. So anyway, there's a lot of resources there, and I'm grateful for Amy saying that it was a big help to her, because that's really why we're here. We're here to serve people, and we're here to help people live a better life outside of California if that's what their wish is.
And Amy, I'm gonna just do one more thing with you, because I'm curious. So how is the I'm trying to think of the word, the adapting to this new community and this new lifestyle? Was it instant where you knew that it was, oh my gosh, we made the best decision? Did it take some time? Has it been an adjustment? And now that you have a brand new life and you guys are much happier, talk a little bit about that transition from when you first got there till now.
Really quick though, back to Allison Woodall, for the price of 40, whatever it costs. That was another thing I would mention. It's going to cost so much money to move. It's such a huge decision. If it was $100, I'd have paid it. It's so nominal for what it gives you. Okay. So,
just one thing, it's $49. And I think Allison is, she's been Terry's right-hand person for a long time. Allison has done so much for this channel and for this group. Thank you for mentioning that. And yes, it is. I actually got to check it out too. It's really, really, really good information. So yeah,
it is. And I don't even know her. I mean, I get nothing from this.
Yes.
But so the transition and landing here and how we've adjusted, again, I loved where we were at. My husband wanted to go. He wasn't going to look back no matter what. But there were so many things I was going to miss, and I really loved about where we lived. So I anticipated that. I have not looked back. Like Terry says, Southern hospitality is a thing. If you break down, don't call AAA. Wait a minute. Somebody's going to stop, and they're going to either fix it or get you there. It really is a thing. And you don't wait for people to come to you. You got to get out there and talk to people, and my neighbor, he was out mowing his lawn. I just stopped my Jeep. I waved him down, if you're not making network or connections, and we go to church, it could feel, I hear a lot of people feeling more isolated. Get out there and do stuff, go to your farmers markets and chit chat. Talk to your waitress, just go and talk and do things like that. People are really friendly and welcoming, and then you just wind up meeting people, because that was the biggest thing for me too, is I love the environment here. I love the weather. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love our outdoor activity, but it was hard leaving people, our friends, and they've come out and visited. I don't know how many times I heard, why Arkansas? It was the last place they would have expected. And they come out here and they just think when they retire, this is where they're considering, but if that was what our experience was. And then earlier you were talking, or somebody was talking about what the culture is, at least in this region. It's very blended. Like my one grandson, he's gotten involved in the Indian culture, the Hindu part, because he goes to school and everybody's just welcoming and open. And it's just, I did not think we're going to move to Arkansas and his best friend, is going to be Indian and very, in the culture that comes with that. I didn't see that coming. And everybody just, they blend in. And It's very good.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And every week, Terry, it's just crazy how fast time flies. I feel like I'm in a new community. This sounds like a wonderful place to visit. I know it's beautiful. I've seen the pictures. I've been in Arkansas before. I haven't really made it to this part, but I want to go back and just kind of recap everything that we did. And then I'll give both of you guys a chance to add any last thoughts. But this is our contact information for me. I'm the National Relocation Director, and of course, Terry Gilliam is our founder. He's available. And the great thing about Terry has 300,000 members, but he's willing to talk to people. So if Amy would have picked up the phone and called Terry or called Allison or called me or called Gina, we are here. We're a resource for you, and we can give you the information. We just do this to help people. And Terry's very passionate about helping people get out of California that want to leave. So if you want to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us through these means. And then go ahead, you can say your phone number and your email, Gina, and let everyone know how they can get a hold of you.
That's 479-212-8292. And my email is gina.harper, GINA.HARPER @evrealestate.com.
And then we shared, this is the top 10 things to consider. Make sure you have a plan, make sure you have a realtor. We have, and I guess, Terry, you can talk about this a little bit, because when I get to the next slide, I wanted Terry to share a little bit about the resources that we have, but just having the plan. And we talked a lot about that today. This was the area. She's up in the top left-hand corner of her area that she covers. And then this is, go ahead, Terry, you can explain this. You can find this in the files tab.
That's right. Yeah, so we've vetted all the movers, realtors, mortgage people, insurance people. What I didn't want, especially on the mover side, well, especially on the real estate side, what I didn't want is what you described, David. I didn't want transaction coordinators. I wanted people who really appreciate the fact what people are going through when they leave California. Just like Gina and myself, we both lived in California for a long time and knew that it's an emotional roller coaster when you're leaving and trying to find a great place to live. So all the realtors have been vetted that are on the list. And then especially people, I would recommend people look at the movers. They are all family-owned businesses. They're all properly licensed with the Department of Transportation. All of them have great safety records and also are properly insured. And what you don't want to do is go with the low bidder, because it's probably a broker who's going to take your money and you'll never hear from them again. And so that's why I ask people to look at the resources here. As Amy said, go to AllisonWoodall.com, where you can get a $47 program that'll give you soup to nuts what you need to consider when it comes to moving and leaving California. And then, gosh, that looks like our YouTube channel there, David.
Yes, sir, it is. Go ahead and explain that as well.
Yeah, the YouTube channel has, almost 5 years of videos of just like this, of various realtors around the country. You can talk to or see Isaac in Boise, Idaho, our realtor there. We've got realtors.
Uh-oh. Poor Terry. We have this
from all around the country that we've interviewed, and
you're glitching
yes?
a little bit. You're glitching a little bit, Terry. We lost
you know
you
what,
for a second.
David, my internet's been going in and out all day today, so sorry about that.
No problem. And in closing, so in case you guys missed it, you can find this group at Leaving California, We have 2,000 subscribers. We're getting close. There's some videos that we still need to upload. We have almost 200 videos. We have all kinds of resources. We want to be your resource to help you when you're making this decision. So in closing, Gina, I'll let you go first, and then Amy. Gina, go ahead, and anything we missed or anything that you wanted to share today that you weren't able to share.
I just want to share that if you are considering Northwest Arkansas, if it's one of your choices, don't be afraid. I get people all the time, I'm sorry to waste your time. You're not wasting my time. Give me a call. I'd be happy to spend a half an hour or more with you on the phone, just to answer the questions you have before you get on that airplane. And then when you do get on that airplane, I do community tours with people who they're not looking to buy a house. They just are looking to see if this is the area for them. I'd be happy. They just tell me their likes and their dislikes, the things they like to do, and I show them all the relevant areas that they might want to consider. So I would be happy to do that for anyone who's considering the area. And it was the best move I ever made. It was the best decision my husband and I ever made, was moving here.
And it's so nice to get a 5-star review, but there's only one thing better than a 5-star review, is it's a 10-star review that Amy, you just gave to Gina. And it's just nice to be able to hear from a person of what the experience is like, and that we really do care. And there are really, really good realtors. Terry has worked extremely hard for the last 5 years of finding the right realtors for these cities. And Amy, I want to thank you again for sharing. When we have a good realtor, I think they should get a reward. When there's a bad realtor, we'll talk about a bad realtor all day long. I mean, but we love the fact that you were able to say how wonderful she was. And in closing, what else do you have to say about your realtor?
Well, thank you again, Terry, for the list that you provide. That is where I found Gina. And it has made all the difference in the world for us. So
thank you for sharing. And in closing, Terry, what else?
This has been great. I really appreciate it. Again, I loved Northwest Arkansas. And by the way, I would recommend, if you fly, by all means, fly into the Northwest Arkansas airport. But I actually flew into Little Rock because I also went to Hot Springs Village and Hot Springs, and drove by the Clinton Library in Little Rock. And as Rush Limbaugh said, it actually does look like a trailer. So he picked that right. But anyway, it is an interesting drive to go from Little Rock to up to Bentonville, because it's very different up in that area. Very much more hilly. The trees are different. It's a beautiful drive. By all means, I'd recommend, if anybody's looking to move to a great place away from California that has a lot of the same benefits, if you will, from a community aspect, with a lot friendlier people, by all means, call Gina and consider Northwest Arkansas.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Next week, we'll be back at Monday at noon. And 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be in Colombia. I'm going to be doing a special segment about an international real estate in Colombia, of all things. So I'm super excited about traveling down there. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
thank
Bye-bye.
you.